Привет, братан. Я Питер, британский медик. Приемно дуже. Як твое имя?
This is Peter Fouche. He travels with a British passport, but he is Ukrainian by heart. He is a former policeman and carpenter. His love for his daughter led him to a foreign country to fight for a foreign war, which would later become deeply personal.
Flight now, delivering humanitarian aid. Nobody else in the world is at war the way Ukraine is at war. We are fighting for survival. We are fighting for the right to exist. I was living in London when Russia was invaded on the full-scale invasion in Ukraine. Russian invaders were murdering children. I'm a father. I have a 15-year-old daughter. Her name is Nicola. My love for my child ignited a volcano inside me, and also my instinct as a policeman to want to protect other innocent people.
At first, his family didn't support his decision. They feared for his life. His brothers and sisters tried to persuade him to stay in London and help remotely.
My compulsion, my conviction to come here and fight for Ukraine was so powerful that none of them could stop me. My mother very quickly saw the pain in me. She saw the passion in me. She saw my desire, and very quickly she switched from trying to make me stay to full-on support.
But he couldn't go unless he had the permission of his daughter, who was 13 at the time. He had to talk with her like an adult. She finally understood, and she let him go.
I said, I've got some big news to tell you. I said, I'm going to go to Ukraine as a medic, and I'm going to go and help the Ukrainian army defend Ukraine. I said, because of my love for you, my child. I said, you are my child, and I love you, and I want to stay here close to you, but you are safe. Those children out there aren't safe, and they need everybody to go and help protect them. I said, please will you forgive me? Please will you understand? Please try and understand, and please try and... She said, go, Daddy. Go there, be safe, and come back. Make sure you come back alive, is all she said to me. Yeah.
And so he went.
There was an American journalist leaving Ukraine, and he came out of there and he said, boys, think carefully before you go across that border. He said it is Leningrad multiplied by 100 inside Ukraine.
After reaching Kyiv Oblast, Peter helped build the first field hospital in Brovary. Later, he underwent medical training and joined the Territorial Defense Unit.
One day, the commander came to me and handed me my rifle and a set of keys. And he said, there's your ambulance keys, there's your rifle. You guys are going to the front.
Then there was Kharkiv, Bakhmut, Severodonetsk, where he had his first real experience as a medic. The lives he saved are forever etched in memory.
Seeing that fear in that boy's eyes, those two heroes' eyes, and telling them you're going to be okay, and inspecting them and having a feel, locating the shrapnel, seeing the wound, make sure that you've stopped the bleeding, and to see that abject fear in somebody's face when they pull their vest off and they can see blood pouring out of their chest or out of their back. It's a terrifying sight for any soldier, for any human being to go through that, and to be able to grab your friend by his arms and look him in the face and say, I've got you, I'm going to get you home, we will take you through this. We're going to get home together. I'm not leaving you behind. It changes you. You almost feel like you are a father and this is your child and you've got this responsibility now. It's a gift. It's a blessing. It's a skill that you never knew you had. I've never counted the exact number because it's in the 200 mark, or that we've saved, me and my Project Constantine colleagues, mostly me and Tatiana. We did the bulk of that, yeah. So it's approximately 200 that I've had hands-on experience in bringing back.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's really amazing.
It's the first time I've actually discussed that figure with anybody.
Do you think you can ever forget what you saw?
No. Definitely not. Every one of them are heroes. Every one of them are huge, huge. They all have my massive, massive respect. They are the most glorious heroes and the bravest people on earth. They are like gods to me. And no, I will never forget, because they've gone from zero to absolute hero without any hesitation.
Project Constantine is a charitable organization that was created by Peter and Tatiana Millard, a Ukrainian woman originally from Bakhmut who lived in Great Britain. PK was named in honor of Kostya, a soldier and colleague who died in the battle for Kherson.
Добрий день, our dear friends of Project Constantine. As you know, Peter and the team been building field hospital, so it's ready today.
We did many missions around Ukraine, rescuing civilians from hard-hit areas and feeding civilians and helping to rehouse civilians. Yeah, and sometime after that I realized if you can support the army better and stop the invasion better, the need for supporting civilians will be eradicated. So I quickly switched from civilian support to army support.
Cars, Starlinks, generators, these items are constantly being supporting donors from all over the world, helping Pete and Tatiana to combine humanitarian missions and evacuations of wounded soldiers. They saved each other's lives many times, until the worst happened.
She drove all the way from England, the Land Rover already fitted out for medical evacuation.
And wish me best. Love you lots.
She got as far as Pokrovsk. That night I went to sleep in the bunker. Her last message to me was, "I'll see you in 13 hours." The next morning, then there was a message from a policeman on my phone and a photograph of Tatiana's passport. And the message read, "Do you know this person?" And I wrote back, I said, "Yeah, I do. That's my best friend and my colleague. Please tell me everything's okay with her." Losing Tatiana was unbelievably even more painful because we had been through so much together. She was my connection to Ukraine. She was emblematic of everything that is Ukraine. She was my foundation, and I always say this, she was my rock.
Rose?
Oh, lovely. Come to take us.
Yeah, this is for you. I admire your braveness to come into Ukraine in this time. Thank you.
I'm Rose Fouche. I come from South Africa, and I've got a son in Ukraine, and I came to visit him. I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. Now he's been in the Ukraine. He's my youngest.
She's turning 88 in 2 months. I'm taking her to the east, and I still can't believe that this is actually happening. After all, for the first time, I will be so close to the front line.
You were not afraid to come to a country at war?
Not at all. I come to see my son, just to show him love.
Do you miss him?
I do miss him, but he's doing wonderful things. He's looking after people there.
Rose said that she talks to her son quite often, and although he rarely talks about work, she understands everything. She shares that she constantly prays for Ukraine and Ukrainians, for those who are in the rear and those who are on the front lines, for her Peter and for everyone he and PK says.
But how does it feel for a mom's heart to know that her son doing such a great job, but such a dangerous job?
I understand that, and I'm certain he's not going to take chances. You've got to be careful. He's just gone forward, and that's what you want to see from your children, that they go forward.
What you will tell him first when you see him?
I think we'll just cry a bit first. Just big hugs and cries first for quite a while.
Привет, братан. Я Питер, британский медик. Приемно дуже. Як твое имя?
This is the first thing Peter says to wounded during the evacuation. While he stabilizes, he asked about their family.
Есть Женка? Есть Жена?
He always tried to make jokes.
What happened to you? Was it a mortar? Was it a tank? I said, as soon as I drop you off, I'm going straight back and I'm going to go destroy that tank for you, okay? Okay, Peter. Дякую, bro. And they often tell me, I'll be back tomorrow as well. Tell the boys to wait for me. I'll come and destroy that tank with you. And I said, do you speak English? And they all say, London is the capital of Great Britain. And then we all have a good chuckle. And that always helps, yeah.
But sometimes the situation is so critical that there is no place for humor.
He was handed to me. He had 3 or 4 tourniquets on his thigh. And it was in the dead of night. And he was absolutely screaming in pain. He was brought to me on the back of a quadricycle. There's enemy fire landing all around us. There's mortars. Myself and Tatiana are there. And as we start evacuating, as we start driving, I can smell burning and I can see smoke in the car. And then I recall, as they shut the door, he's got phosphorus burning in his leg. And I'm pulling out my knife, my combat knife, off my bulletproof vest, and this poor soldier, I'll never forget his face. Okay, Briton. And I'm trying to let him not see what I'm doing, and I'm trying to keep his face shielded from what I'm doing, but I'm actually cutting, burning phosphorus out of his leg.
Super, Vitalik, dziękuję.
Before I came to be a medic, I was squeamish. I was squeamish with blood. The sight of blood scared me. And here I am with my combat knife sawing into this poor man's leg. We did stop the bleeding, and I did get all of the burning phosphorus out of his leg. But it was a very painful experience for me, and it was a very brutal experience and horrible experience for him.
We're getting closer and closer to our destination point. Periodically, we stop to walk a little. This is what Rose's doctor advised after her hip surgery. It's been about 6 months since Pete signed a contract with the armed forces of Ukraine in order to better understand the needs of the army. The only reason why his heart is restless.
My biggest regret is that I'm not present in my daughter's life. I don't know if my daughter will ever forgive me for not being there. I had a very, very, very difficult choice to make. But my daughter is growing up without a father. And it kills me every day to think how angry and disappointed in me she might be. I wish I could hold her in my arms. I wish I could look her in the eyes. I wish I could explain to her. I wish she would pick up the phone. I wish she would hear me when I tell her how important this job is that I'm doing. I wish she would forgive me. But I know God is in her life, and I hope and I pray that she will forgive me one day. Because she is everything to me. And when this horrible war is over, I hope she'll come around with me and help me knock a few nails into some roofs as we repair the buildings of Ukraine and the homes of all these beautiful people.
I'm sure that she will be proud of you, Pete.
Yeah, I'm too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, my sister, my Ukrainian sister.
Thank you.
До перемоги.
До перемоги.
We entered the city close to the front lines. And Rose, what do you think of what you see?
Awful at this day and age that people's homes are being destroyed, people's lives have been taken out. Such a beautiful world to live in.
How long has it been since I've seen you? 2 years?
Was it 2 years? It's a long time, Peter. And knowing that what you're doing.
My mother, everybody. My role model. Oh, you look amazing. Oh, come inside.
I must take. Are you going to have a cup of tea?
Let's have a cup of tea.
I can't wipe it out. Oh, and what you got? Who made?
This is for you,
Oh, look at that.
Mama. And
Eh?
this is Blackie, our adopted dog from
Yes, I've said
Constantine.
hello.
Blackie, this is my mother.
Let's sit some more. Huh? So
Have a receipt.
this is where he lives now, my Peter. My baby. Hmm? They for me too, not for you. Hmm? Yeah.
He shows her the place he now calls home, a place where she will live for a while, just 6 kilometers from the front line.
And into this is my room, but it's also your room.
Our room.
It's our room. And there's your bed.
Yeah.
It's nice and comfortable. It's got a mobile phone holder. You can watch movies at night time.
Like I
And-
sleep.
Yes. Wow, dear Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for my mum. And thank you for Olga and her beautiful team. Thank you guys. Dziękuję chłopcy.
I watch them talk as if there were no separation after 2 years apart. She tells him the latest news about the church, about the neighbors, and Pete brags that he made a table for her.
I made you a table yesterday. There she goes.
What do I say? In Ukrainian, having a cup of tea with my son,
Yes.
who's helping out, doing what he can do to help people. And the family are going to be thrilled when they get pictures of this, to see this.
You think?
Yes, they will be.
At some point, Rose mentions a gift she brought especially for her son, the car he played with as a child. We call him? Your mom
brought it-
have something for you.
Brought something.
What? Oh my word.
How many years back was that car? And did you think that this was what you were doing today, what we're doing now?
Oh my word.
Huh?
How many years have you been keeping this? Wow.
Look at
And
that.
do we think this is what I've been doing now? Do you know we
you
rescued some
doing?
soldiers the other day in one of these?
You know, every night I pray, Peter, especially that I say if you go and rescue people, bring them back with them safely there.
Yeah.
Bring them back and please with the ambulance, bring them back safely.
Yeah.
Doing very good things now, exceptionally good, wonderful things now.
You're proud of him.
I'm proud of him, and I say proud, but at the same time grateful for what Peter's been able to do. Decision he made, and I encouraged him. And I would say this too, if other people see this, I'd encourage them, if their children, their sons, would like to do this. They need so much help. So I'd encourage you all, if you can, send them off with you too.
What does it mean for you to see your mom here?
Oh my word. Seeing my mum walk in this gate this morning, when you brought her to me, is the greatest gift. Confirmation to me, to my mission out here with Project Constantine, that I'm doing the right thing.
And she gives you more strength.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You've summed it up there perfectly. She gives me more strength, and I need it right now. You know why? Because I've lost faith in the West. I'm sorry, I have.
He does not mince words when it comes to delaying aid to Ukraine. He knows how critical the situation is. He simply turns to the camera as if he wants to shout at those who make decisions.
There are vast amounts of weapons out there. There are vast amounts of countries with air defenses and Patriot systems that are not needing them. Give them to us. Give them to us. We are Ukraine. We are a peaceful, sovereign nation, and we are being written off the face of the earth while you guys sit back and argue. Hear me out now. Ukraine will win this war with or without your help. Just the amount of people and civilians and soldiers that are going to die in Ukraine, I'm sorry, but it is in your hands, because it's up to you guys when the killing stops. If you are silent in the face of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
I understand why you are angry, and I'm angry too. You spent here more than 2 years. What is the reward for you for being here?
The tears and the 90-degree bows that I get from the babchas,
Babchas.
There was one recently in Druzhkivka, and she saw me and she said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Britain." And she just crumbled. She started weeping inconsolably. And this 80-odd-year-old babcha bowed down in a 90-degree bow to me like I was royalty, thanking me and my friends from overseas, international volunteers that have come here. That is my reward for coming here. It's the deep gratitude of the Ukrainians.
How long you are planning to stay here in Ukraine?
I'll never leave. Ukraine is my home. I cannot wait for the day that I will get a Ukrainian passport and citizenship, but I will never leave this place. It's the most beautiful nation that could ever imagine. When this war is over, Project Constantine will help rebuild Ukraine. I'm a construction carpenter by trade, and I will rebuild the houses. I will rebuild the roofs of Bakhmut and Reznikivka and the rest of Ukraine, along with the help of some thousands of other volunteers.
Everything I am today, I owe to my mother, says Pete. It was her who taught me to have God in my heart, love and care for other people. You need to die for yourself and live for others. This is how she lives her life, and this is how I try to live mine.
This was the man in my life. I show everybody there's a man in my life.
Yeah.
Came from Peter.
Love conquers all. God is love, and love conquers all.